Hello and welcome to Gentle Mondays Yoga. So today you will require, or it'll be helpful, to have a chair handy. So we don't need it instantly, but we will need a chair handy. I'll just show you. I know you know what a chair looks like, but in terms of, it needs to be quite sturdy. So a kind of dining chair probably is a good option, so that you don't want to be giving a lot of weight, but you might want to take some weight onto it. So it needs to be really stable, obviously not on wheels, that sort of thing. You could, I'm in the kitchen, so you could use a worktop or a firm table if you knew that was firm. Worktops are good. Again, it might just also depend on height, whether that's going to work for you. So I'll just place that to the side for the moment. So this week we're concentrating on our, in week 5, around our strength without strain series on a little bit about balance. And that's partly why we need the chair, because balance is a kind of practice, it's a process. And it's very easy to lose confidence or to find the kind of balancing practice is a little bit more challenging than some things. So we're going to start with some movement. We're just going to start with some movement, some reasonably vigorous movement to get the heart rate going, to get the body warm, to get the joints a little bit more hydrated. So it's familiar to all of you that come to the classes regularly, but I'll always go through things as a reminder, or just for newer people. So just let the arms, both arms going back together and forward together, and see how that feels in the body. So you'll feel the air on the skin, particularly if you've got your arms free, as it were, and see how it feels in the front of the chest. Feels in the shoulders, and feel the rocking through the whole of the foot, so from balls of the feet to the heels. If things are feeling good, then we can take the movement to the next stage, which is to sit back and bend at the knees and the hips and let the arms take a bit of swing. So they swing behind, and then there's a bit of momentum to get them up. And what would be useful would be for you to use the legs to get the arms and the body to lengthen. So again, you choose how long you do this. So if it isn't suitable or comfortable for everybody's back, so if the back feels like it's uncomfortable here, then leaving it out or doing really small movements. So doing smaller movements, particularly with the joints of the legs. So just not bending quite so low, keeping that a little bit more supported, just so the lower back doesn't go into an arch if you're really vulnerable in that lower back area. It's more like you feel you're sitting back and you push it through your legs, you're sitting back, you push it through your legs. And you can let the out breath go a little bit more on the descent. If you're still with me, just take breaks as and when you wish. And then start the slow down process. So let the arms calm down. The arms calm down. And we'll do a kind of still check out, if you like, hand belly, one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest. And soften the knees just slightly so your weight really goes through the feet and through the earth, and you can relax the shoulders, the jaw, and just get a response from the body. What's gone on there, how it feels in the heart, how it feels if the body feels warm or where it feels warm, where the breath is felt underneath the hand of the belly. allowing the breath to just ease, allowing things to just calm down and settle. So depending on how much movement you did, whether you took breaks, how you feel, what time of day you're doing this, will have a different impact on the heart, on the breath, on the openness of the work, the lengthening through the spine, hydration of the joints in the hips, the knees, the ankles, and then our ability to release through that out breath swing, to kind of allow any strain to be let go of, and now to just settle. So a couple more breaths here. And then release the arms, give the arms a bit of a shake. And the legs a little bit of a shake. And the breath a little bit of a release. Okay, so again, we're going to something reasonably familiar, maybe not to everybody. So, and it might be difficult to sit. So I'll show you initially from the side, and then I'll need to do the movement really with the foot coming towards you, if you like, towards the screen. So I'm just taking one foot forward and giving weight. So whichever leg I've taken forward, then I'm going to bring my opposite arm. It's just going to come into a swing. And from there, you can take the arm up. And what I'm doing is an extend up. Actually, I'll stay right. I'm actually peeling the heel of the back foot. So that doesn't mean I'm pushing through the bottom foot. It means as my arm swings, I'm allowing my heel to peel away from the floor of that back foot. And I'm noticing the feeling I get in front of the chest, side ribs, the side waist, as I find this movement of lengthening and returning, lengthening and returning, lengthening and relaxing, lengthening and letting go. Nice. And if you feel comfortable with using the gaze on the hand, then you can take the gaze behind you, which means the arm will swing back a little more, and you're getting to kind of like a twisting movement. But if that's not good for the neck or the balance, then leave that out. A couple more. And then let that naturally loosen and just find its own momentum to come to a stop, or probably stop. Okay, and then I do the other side. Okay, so stepping forward with the opposite leg, let that knee bend, let the weight slightly come forward. And from there, you've got to go use your other arm. So obviously if things are difficult, painful around the shoulder, you just need to go within your limit. And I know it's difficult to gauge sometimes, but it's better to do 50% what you think you can do and then take a break. And if that felt okay, then you might choose to lengthen it or you'll leave it and do it another day. Yeah. So that's always a useful thing to think about if there's some discomfort in some of these movements. And the reach comes, and as the reach comes, the peel the back heel off. So you get a little bit more sense of length through that kind of momentum from the forward movement, through the arm, through that front leg being bent, taking the weight as you come forward. And within the space on the second side, under the armpit, up by the ribs, and the diaphragm, and the side waist, feeling the whole length of that moving side, If you feel you can continue, do. And if you feel like you want to just go to the second stage or the next stage, you're just looking behind you. And letting go on the way back. Feeling the letting go on the way back. So that's not collapsing, it's just releasing. A couple more. And again, just let the momentum of that arm work its way to a stiller place. And feet back together. Excellent. Okay, see how we are in standing. We'll do a bigger movement to lengthen the breath and just ease the breath, hopefully. See how it goes. Again, you can do smaller movements if you choose, and then we'll move on to a few balances after that. So feet where you're happy. So for me, that tends to be probably shoulder distance to feel like I'm stable. Just bring the hands into the heart space, or just, let us say, around the front of the body, front of the chest, sternum kind of area. Let the shoulders drop, let the shoulder blades release down the back. Feel like the spine can lengthen, and this space here can have a little bit of opening as well. So we've got that length through the upper body. Okay, and then a little bit of a release for the knees and the hands. The arms go up and they just follow the journey back down, but we bend the knees, and if it's okay in the back, to allow the top body to rest over the front body like we would in a sun salutation prep. But we just then use the feet, work our way back up through the body and lengthen, and maybe look up if it's comfortable. And slowly coming back down. The lower back really feels uncomfortable here. And then you just take your hands on your thighs as you come up to push yourself up. So you've got more support from your legs. If that's what you need, really go for that option. Really recommend greater support for the back if it's not feeling A1 at the moment. Otherwise, you come down, you have a sense of the upper back really letting go, lower back letting go, arms letting go, head and neck letting go. Push from the feet, use the legs if you can to reach up. Okay, so starting to invite the breath after this next one. So we're going to go down, but as we come back up, could you find that in breath? Wait for it to come. And then use the legs as you breathe in, use the arms, move the side body. And the out breath, find yourself coming in and down, sweeping, floating down towards the earth, towards the ground, releasing top body. Use your legs, find your in-breath, find your support. Open and extend. Out breath, folding forward. So the knees bend as much as they want to, need to, so the hips can release as you come down. Last one, breathing in. So the out breath can just release the arms rather than rolling all the way down. So the, if that movement just felt too much, again, you just do half movements. You just come here and here. And you might then extend a little bit further. You might just bend your knees and just come into hands on thighs and come up. So there's always different places we can start and finish to just allow ourselves a little bit more wiggle room to support our body where we are at the moment, where we are right now. Okay, so from here, I think we need the chair now. So I'm just going to invite you to find your own chair. I'm just going to readjust. I think it's going to work like this. We'll see. So again, chair needs to be safe on the floor. Okay, so some of the movements that we'll be doing will be about balance, and sometimes you might feel you need it, and sometimes you might feel you don't need it. The chair's there, and you've got some form of support. So turning towards your chair, which you found your chair, which you've got what you need. So pause the video until you're ready. And what's quite good about the, obviously it depends on the height, what can be quite good on the, with the support of the chair or the worktop is that it can just remind you about this lifting and lengthening. So I can be down here, or I can find a space in my spine to stand tall. Yeah, so, and we'll all at some point end up here. And we don't want to be so far up and holding, pushing, and everything kind of just going into a tight statue. We do want to lengthen, but not feel that we're stuck in a position where we can't breathe. If you can't breathe, you've probably gone too far. But you can get that little bit of support from the chair. And look forward if you can, because again, if you look down, you're going to be rounding your back. Have your feet, sorry, I should have said this before, have your feet about fist distance apart, so fairly close. And just, as we were doing in one of the previous movements, you're just going to peel your heel off the floor. So your knee will come forward, and you return the leg to the floor. So about 3 times, and then I'll just say a little bit more, and then we'll continue. So, final one in this, just checking out how this feels. So you probably think I don't need support for that, but I think it's still really useful to go for the support and just see what it feels like. As I say, it gives you much more sense of length for most of us. So what we're doing there is we're trying to establish a strong leg and an empty leg or a support leg. So the peeling the heel leg was your empty leg or your support leg, which meant the other leg had to do the work. So you don't want to be putting so much weight on the chair, so you're putting lots of weight on the chair. So when I peel the heel, there's no, well, of course there is weight, but it feels like I'm using the shoulders and tightening up my upper body. So it's only resting the arms, yeah, the difference between that, and it's the leg that's still doing the work, yeah. So feeling the strong leg now as you re-engage the peeling the heel part of the process, ensuring that you're not pushing into the back of your knee of that stable leg on the foot completely on the floor, just so you're using leg muscles rather than anything else. A couple more. And then stand on your own 2 feet. Give the arms a little bit of a movement here. And then re-engaging for your opposite side. So just see, peeling the heel on the second side. Feel. So you're looking for a smoothness in that movement so that there's more fluidity and flow in that leg rather than pushing or creating tension. So lightness, try and avoid jerkiness if theoretically possible. Relax the shoulders here, tuck into the self as much as you. And just take a break, done more than 3 there, and just establish yourself in center. Then just re-establishing your strong leg. So that's working. Even if you feel just for a moment you're pressing in to sand that kind of extra contact point, and the other leg is light. So the second leg that you're using to be your support leg. And then from there, just peeling the heel a few more times. So you're not pressing through the toes or through the balls of the foot. it is much more of a gentle lift or peeling of the heel, so the knee comes forward and the hip releases. And it was almost like really that leg isn't doing any work. It doesn't, you don't push back to the heel when you get the leg down. As soon as your heel touches the ground, you re-engage the movement in the movement. And it's a reasonable speed, though it's not like we're doing it really slowly. A kind of walking speed or maybe slightly faster. And release the arms. Okay, let's just take a break there. So the legs will probably feel strong or tired or both. So let's just let the hips move around a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go into our next movement at the chair. So hopefully you can see here sufficiently. So I'm going to bring my knee up. So you need enough space to not knock your knee on the chair. I'm taking that knee out to the side that way, but I want to keep the hip, the pelvis in place on the opposite side. So I don't want to swing around. I want to keep this stable leg, if you like, aligned and in neutral, facing forward. And then I just see what's happening with this other leg. So it might be here, but the idea is it's a bit of an external rotation. And then you reach out like a ballet dancer sort of thing to almost touch the floor with your toes. And then you come back into center. And then you do the same movement. So it's almost like stepping into water, but you redraw your foot from the water as soon as you touch it. If you end up touching the floor, it doesn't matter, I often do with this movement. But the idea is it's just hovering just before the toes touch. And you've got the support that's reminding you not to come away from that stable leg, staying stable and staying in alignment. So one more, it's quite strong, even with the chair, I would suspect. I'm doing a few of these, so my legs are a bit tighter than yours, possibly. Finishing on this forward movement, toe forward, knee up, leg down, shake out. And opposite leg. So you won't see so clearly here, but you know the movement now. So knee comes up, goes out to the side, heads for that imaginary water strip, toe in, comes back up to center, and dips a toe forward into that water, comes up, out to the side. So keeping your gaze forward, keeping a sense of lightness and length through the upper body. Your hands are there to stabilize and remind you about giving length. This stable leg just faces forward rather than coming with you on the journey with the external rotation. So one more if you can work with this. And if you haven't finished, then finishing off on this final stage. Let's just lengthen through the body again. Come onto the balls of your feet maybe. And then take the legs down, take the arms down, and just relax the body for a moment. Okay, so that movement was helping a little bit with the external rotation, and that's what we need for tree pose. And we're going to use tree pose as another balance, but as a balance with the chair is my suggestion. So often what we've been doing is we've just been taking the heel to just above the ankle on the opposite leg, and the knee coming out to the side. So what I'd like you to try out today is taking, and again, some of you are comfortable with this, is to take the foot to the side of the calf with the heel below the knee. So it's not that high. And again, where the thigh comes out will vary for all of us. And because we're not bringing the hip with us, we have the stable leg, that's still facing forward. We've got length through the support of the arms on the chair to remind us. And we can take one hand to the heart space, to the chest, to the sternum, and see if we can breathe here, which often we might not be able to if we're trying to stand and balance without this little bit of support. And one more breath here. Release the hands, release the foot. Again, have a jiggle if you want to jiggle. Sigh if you want to sigh. Release the shoulders. Release the shoulders. And then you try your opposite side. So you find a stable leg. We've done so much, it shouldn't be difficult to find it. And then we find our position with the opposite sole of the foot on the side of the calf, below the knee. So there's no bone on bone here. So this leg does need to work, the strong leg. It needs to be active rather than just resting. You can see what it feels like if you give a little bit more pressure of the foot into the calf. And you can feel like what goes on in the centre, what happens if you give a little bit more gathering in through the centre, lengthening through the spine. Breathing here and taking one hand to heart space if that feels safe for you to do so. Not pushing into the back of your knee, remember, that's stable. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, and find the breath. So 3 breaths here if you can find stability, or 3 breaths here with both hands on the chair if that's what you need. And when you finish those 3 breaths, then release, the arm and then the leg. Get back onto your 2 legs. And we'll move the chair out of the way. And we'll just let the thing settle by coming onto our back. If you prefer to just have a shake out to finish, that's fine. But if you just want to get a sense of what's happened to the body, with the body, you just get a little bit more sense of that from lying down. So finding your way down onto your back, and let the legs be long. Let the arms just come away from the body, just a little way. Don't need to take them as high as the shoulders. And just land. So the legs have done a lot of work. So feeling the legs, feeling the outer legs, the inner legs, back of the legs, front of the legs. Having a sense of the feet, particularly the soles of the feet, the balls of the feet, the heels, the toes. How they feel now they've got some relief from standing and they're giving weight. And notice what's going on in the areas we may have been holding. May have been holding in the shoulders, in the jaw, in the eyes, but in our attempts to balance a little bit more. Sometimes our focus and our edge comes through the eyes, or the forehead, brow. Just softening the areas, softening the hands now. Soles of the feet, and the belly can also just relax. So the belly would have been doing some core work for you. And your spine would have had quite a bit to do if it was able to get that sense of length and support for you. So feel the breath in the back, the muscles in the upper back. Okay, so we'll just do movements, brief movement to finish here. So bringing the feet to the floor with the knees bent. And have the feet back shoulder distance apart, or at least hip distance apart. And just let the knees go a little way over to one side. And find the way back to center. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And see how it is drifting to the opposite side of the way. Just so enough weight goes onto the hip, side of the butt, and back to center. And then just find your own rocking from side to side. Decide how far you want to rock to the side. Maybe you can sort of pause, almost like you rock, you pause. You rock back to the opposite side, you pause. So there's a little bit of momentum just from the release after the pause. So next time you're equal and you've done both sides, then when you're back in neutral, just let the knees drift off towards the chest. Just take your hands onto your legs and just do some circular movement for the knees so they can just soften the lower back. One way and then the other way. Just release the legs one more time and just take 3 breaths in extension of the legs. Be comfortable like that and just see how the body feels at the end of the practice. So it could be deeper breaths if you choose, could be breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just let the breath be, let the shoulders again release, neck, tension release, jaw, tongue, tension release. A shake out maybe. And when you're ready, you can roll over to your side and find a way to support yourself to come up. And we're going to leave it there. So thank you for joining me for week 5 for largely balance at the hip opening. And see how we go. And see you for week 6, which will be the final one in this series. Okay, take care. Bye for now.